Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Welcome to Paradise Academy. Nope. And it says, I'm trying to read off of what's on there, and I still got the title wrong. Again, Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, Genesis. It is not Paradise Academy. There's no school left, although I believe you guys, I think about it, you guys are probably still in your school uniforms, aren't you?
When did we get warped out?
Didn't we leave like after school from the first day?
Mother fuck. So I'm in a skirt. I am borrowing pants at the earliest convenience because this is bullshit.
In just a few moments, we'll catch you all up on get you all up to speed as to why Gary wants Rosie to have pants. Anyway, yes, this is Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, Genesis. This is our second episode of our season 3 Kids on Bikes RPG game. We will get into the game proper in just a couple moments. I'm going to keep the announcements quick, brief. Domain pops. If you're new here, ask somebody about them. Most of you already know what these things are for. Do the stuff, earn pops for the players.
Do the stuff.
And there's some information in the chat about that. Normally you can type schedule, but I keep forgetting to update the schedule command because we have a new Monday night show. So real quick, Monday nights, tune in for 7 Dooms for Sandpoint. We just had our 4th episode. So that one, our new Pathfinder 2E campaigns, trekking along. Every other Tuesday, we have Sky Metal Iron Gods, a D&D 5e campaign that happens every other Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then opposite Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern is Scavenger Death at Dusk. We did have to call the game this Monday, this most recent Monday. So we'll be back with that one in a week from Tuesday. This Tuesday will be Sky Metal. And of course, every Thursday you can tune in for our Kids on Bikes. Welcome to Paradise, Michigan, Genesis. That's the schedule. I want to, one, remind you, or rather give you a little bit of a content warning. I keep forgetting to do that with these new games for some reason, but you should be warned. We are adults playing as teenagers and other oddball characters in a fictitious setting. There will be periods of intense role play. There will be very dramatic conversations and situations dealing with tough subjects, adult language, things like that. If any of that kind of stuff makes you uncomfortable or just isn't your cup of tea, please go somewhere else. We won't be offended. First and foremost, take care of yourself. Speaking of taking care of yourself, I'm going to take just a moment, just a hair bit longer, and emphasize the our mental health notification. I had my own struggles this week, just a whole combination of things that I had to call a game. I was not in a place to play a game. I wound up not doing a whole lot, but it turned out taking a couple of days to myself. It's something that I learned in therapy. That sometimes you, honestly, and I want to be extra honest here, not just in therapy, but I learned it from a lot of my friends, some of whom are in here tonight. Well, all of you are my friends, but some of the people I learned this kind of thing from are in here tonight. I'm going to both compliment and insult you all at the same time. It is okay to take a break. There's any number of ways that we word that we phrase that. You might not have the spoons, you might not have the spell slots. You might not have any F's to give right now. Whatever the case may be, there's a lot of things that can make things tough. Furthermore, I want to add to this, we've done a lot of work here at MTD in the past, working with charity fundraising. We've raised over $100,000 over the last few years, specifically for suicide prevention, suicide awareness, suicide response groups, things like that. Normally when we're talking about these messages, sort of the subtext is we're addressing suicide. I bring that up because it's something that has surfaced in my own personal life recently, knowing people, friends of friends, a friend of my daughter's, or an acquaintance. We just found out today. And it's tough. The world, we're in a tough place for a lot of people right now. So there's all kinds of extra reasons to be struggling. And so that's why I wanted to break from what almost, it sounds rote sometimes. And I've emphasized it before, how much I mean it when I say it. When we say you matter, your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. Those are the words we say every week. It's because those are the words I've found to best express it. The last thing that I want is for anybody to struggle with figuring out how to get help. I told my daughter while she was on the phone with her friend, who I've known since she was a little girl too, I said, don't hesitate to call me if you even catch the inkling of something crossing your mind like that. I'm not an expert. I am for my daughter. I want to be a person for her and her friends. But for you, I want you to know that all you have to do, any time of day or night, it does not matter. You come into this Twitch chat. If you're watching on a VOD later and you're like, I don't know what to do. You talk about this all the time. Go to twitch.tv or twitch.tv/mini terrain domain. Type !help in the chat. And a couple of URLs will pop up. Findahelpline.org is a free resource. It's available all around the world. And it's not just mental health. There's all kinds of services that are available for you there. And they're free. Or rather, Find a Helpline is free. But it will give you phone numbers, text numbers, websites of where you can find the kind of help that you need. Or that you may need, or that you might know that a friend needs. Also, takethis.org is a sort of gaming and convention and TTRPG facing mental health organization. They have plenty of resources available there as well. Bookmark those sites, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. And we mean it. With that, we are going to spend the next couple hours playing make-believe as I welcome you all to Paradise, Michigan, Genesis.
Every time you say that, I want to go Sega, but I can't.
I think it's very telling that our season is called Genesis, and the episode tonight is the title of a Phil Collins song.
Oh,
That's what I
even
thought
catch
whenever I heard
that.
Genesis.
See, that's
Sorry.
what I think
Showing my
of.
age.
I think right.
That's fair. That's
I mean,
fair.
technically, the Sega kind of tells the age too, but
True.
of a
That
certain
is
tail
age.
end.
But I,
The other
yeah, definitely think of Phil Collins, Genesis. So to shrug out of 2025 and step into 18 something, you haven't figured out yet. That's exactly where you are, is in 18 something on South Manitou Island, about 15 miles off the Leelanau Peninsula of Michigan. You half sent yourself, half were sent here through powers that be, and a combination of Oak siphoning off all of your abilities to supercharge his Time Lord abilities, and you will have found yourself on South Manitou Island, most likely before Paradise exists, before the Nexus Project exists, before iterations existed. And you picked a heck of a time to arrive in the middle of a storm in a logging camp at night, when a local cryptid is on the loose. Something you have learned is known as Wetsika, and whom you have only just recently seen after just getting a little bit of introduction to the people in the logging camp. Josie, the barmaid of the or bartender of the Eagle's Perch Tavern. Levi Blackthorn, who you're not entirely sure what his role is, but he seems to be some sort of leader in the town. You met Doc and a handful of others, and have been sort of put up for the night in the tavern so you can figure out what to do. When Rosie, peering out into the storm beyond, was suddenly confronted with the apparition of Wetzika. And opening the door, you could see outside in the rain the figure silently pointing towards the lighthouse. And that's where we are picking up right now, as the door is swung wide, rain is blowing in. You see this ghostly apparition about 20-30 feet out in front of the tavern. What would you all like to do?
I think Rosie's still like on her ass, just like frozen, staring at this thing. She has just kind of like scrambled back into the little pod of her friends.
Yeah, I think Laz will kind of reach down and try to help her to her feet. Do we all see Wetzika?
If you're looking out the door, you see her, yes.
Okay. I think he's gonna run for the door and try to like push it shut again against the wind and the rain that's like pouring in.
Okay. Make me a brawn check.
Can I help? Who would help?
Yeah. That'll lower the DC. You can both roll.
Nice. Okay.
You're not alone, man. You're not alone.
I always take a Coop by my side.
And because Coop is just a little man, he's like right. He's
Well,
like at the low spot on the door.
He's a
and
little man with a D12 brawn, y'all.
Excuse.
It's a stocky
I got a
little
six.
man.
He's like a linebacker. He's low.
I got an 8.
Look at you.
Hell yeah.
What
What did Laz get?
What'd you get, Laz?
6.
All right. Yeah, you can definitely feel the force of the storm pressing against the door. But the two of you working together are able to push the door close, reach up, and turn the latch and locking mechanism. Remind me, I'm going to call on Tamiko, since I know are the most recent one to have watched the previous episode. Is Josie in
10
the room
minutes
with
ago.
you?
Very.
Did Josie come out of the back room?
She came out of the back room in her red long johns.
That's right. And she has a
shotgun,
with her
right?
shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has a shotgun.
Badass.
Okay. I was completely blanking on whether she was in the room or not. So, yeah, as you close the door, Josie's over by the window to the right of the door. She's holding the shotgun, and she's trying to barely look through, like leaning up against. Is it still out there?
Is that her?
Yes.
Was that her?
Yes. And all the time, Rosie is like looking back and forth between Jessica and Wetzika and realizing how very, very, very terrifyingly similar they are.
Speaking of Jessica, what are you doing?
Jessica's frozen in just like, what is happening, kind of like mouth agape, just like, I think again, like Rosie is looking from Wetzika to Jessica, and Jessica is looking from Rosie to Wetzika, and just like there's this
Yeah.
this looking that's happening. And sorry, Wetzika's like in the door, right?
Wetzika was out like 30 yards in front of, or 30 feet.
20 feet, you said.
20 feet in
from
front
me.
of the tavern outside. Oak.
Okay,
Nope.
okay.
Dang it. Coop.
Yeah, bingo. No, not yet. But
Coop and
soon.
Laz, right off the bat, get that one out of the way. That should be a free space at this point. Coop and Laz have just shut the door. So unless you're looking out the window, you don't see Wetzika anymore.
Right. I think Jessica would be looking out the window. She would have rushed as soon as they closed the door to the window to look. and is like looking just shocked and surprised from Rosie to Wetzica.
So as you run over to the window, and in that Rosie, in that moment when they're closing the door, and you look back at Jessica, Jessica comes running over, and you both look outside. Wetzica's not there anymore.
Fuck. I thought I hated seeing her. I
Wait,
hate not seeing her more. I
Look
don't know where she
behind
is.
you, because that's usually where they appear.
Oak.
Yeah, right. No,
Oak,
there's no foggy bathroom mirror here, Tamiko.
Oak,
if
what are
that
you-
were the case.
Oak, what are you doing while this is happening? What are you doing at this exact moment?
Well, I've got feeling back in my legs.
Yep.
So I'm like attempting like a baby giraffe to stand up. I think for the first time in a hot minute, trying to get my bearings. And I would have probably been in. I don't know if I would have seen Wetzica, but I do think that
Give
what I've seen
give me a.
from my lower vantage point.
I would like a. I'm gonna say a brawn check from you.
Brawn check. Okay. What is my brawn again? I don't do enough of it. Oh yay! It's a D4 because I'm a tiny boy. Ah. That's a 3.
Okay. This was basically just testing as you are struggling to get to your feet. Having just got feeling back in your legs for the first time after hours. And very much that pins and needles preceded by or followed by that feeling of heaviness
Cramping?
that comes before the cramping.
Yeah.
That feeling of extreme, like you suddenly feel like gravity is tenfold on your legs, and with a 3, you just fall shy of the DC 4, but that's okay because you are stabilized as a hand reaches out to help you, and that's when you realize it is a cold, wet hand.
No! She's in here! The call is coming from inside the house! No!
And turning to look, you see Wetzica.
No.
It looks like Jessica. You now have, with nothing between you, no dirty window or anything between you. What you see, Oak,
No. You're not getting him.
is what looks like Jessica on the night that Jessica became many hundreds of Jessicas in the rain outside the lighthouse on the night of the big dance. Not just looks similar, it looks exactly the same.
Do something, man.
Oh.
Do something.
And she
Oak
looks right
is-
at you and just goes,
I hate that. No, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that.
Does the jaw like descend?
no,
like
no, but as she opens her mouth to speak, and you hear no words, absolutely silent, as she opens her mouth to speak, water just starts pouring out of her mouth.
God. Oh, God, no.
Is there like a piece of wood from the fireplace, like a log or
Do
something?
we see this?
So,
do we see
unless
this?
Oak-
Yeah, do we see this?
Unless Oak says something, or until Oak says something, every
We're
single
locked on
one
the
of
door.
you is looking out a window, locking a
Oh,
door, or nobody has noticed it yet, except for Oak.
I will say this. I think there's this moment where Oak's legs attempt to run. His brain says, I want to run, but then he realizes, oh no, running is not an option right now.
It's like
So
a
I
bad
can't even
dream.
move away. So the hand is literally on my chest. Face is right here. And I just think that at a certain point, his mouth is agape and there's an attempt to scream. But like nothing comes out for the split second, and then you hear the 12-year-old crack of the voice.
Just like a little girl. Poor guy.
It sounds like, yeah, exactly. It has that like high-pitched little girl quality
Like
for just
Bradley.
the 10th of a second, and then like he tries to walk it back with a little bit of masculinity.
Help me. Everybody help. Help.
At
help,
this point,
help.
everybody has heard Oak cry out, and anybody
Snap
who
around.
turns to look sees Oak face to face with Wetsuka.
Oh, please.
Okay, now Jessica's gonna look for something.
I would also like attack. I would probably just go with my hands because Rosie's stupid.
So,
Yeah, Jessica's gonna try and find a weapon.
An
and
implement?
hit her.
so a couple
Yeah.
of notes, sort of housekeeping notes, because it was mentioned briefly last session, mentioned in Discord before we started playing.
D'Amico?
All of your Paradise Academy bonuses, like gold stars, ranks, anything that had to do with the school except for your uniforms, gone. However, we did say at the end of last season, anything you had on your possession and is normally in your backpack, because that's core to the rules of this game, you have. For instance, Rosie, you have your bat because you have your bag. So if you
Right.
have anything in there, just so that we know, you guys have all of your original
Backpack
and
things.
found belongings. Second, before you all were settling down to go to sleep, Josie and Levi had somebody make sure that there was a bunch of wood brought in for the fire, so you guys could have a fire all night long. So there is a fire poker, there are logs, fireplace-sized logs, as well as the burning logs that are in the fireplace.
Oh my god.
And I
For the
should
record.
note that Josie has turned and is basically aiming her shotgun at Wetsuka, but she's not. You can see her going, yeah,
Mhm.
because Oak's right there. So she's not endangering Oak, but you can see she wants to take a shot. So unpause,
Let me
back in
reiterate.
the action. What would you
Coop?
like to do, Jessica? You were
Coop first.
starting to say.
Coop calls Oak much like one would a puppy. Come on, Oak. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come on, Oak.
Come on, boy. Wanna go for a ride?
Yeah, and I think with that, Oak is gonna try to sidestep and get toward Coop and Laz, I think, if possible. If
I'm gonna have you make.
Wetsuka does not put any pressure against, then
Oh, she's putting
I'll
pressure
move on.
against.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sure.
I'm
I
gonna-
anticipated it.
Even though you're moving a little more slowly, cautiously, whatever, I still want you to make a flight check to see if you can break away from Wetsuka.
Do it.
Flight check, let's go.
Break away.
Break away.
Break away.
Okay.
That wasn't 10 seconds. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Okay, that's not horrible. On a D10, I got a 6. So, let's see. I think I am gonna.
I got a 6 too.
Oh! Okay.
Oh, nothing happens.
What
I
does it
think-
mean?
Stalemate.
So, yeah, I think you're not able to break free, but she's not able to do anything for the moment either, as she's keeping a hand pressed, and you see as you try to break away, she's not pushing you like to hold you back or like push you back any further or to do you any harm. You can see as she's looking at you and continuing to try to speak, and impossibly large volumes of water are continuing to spill out of her mouth as
That
she
is
speaks.
so fucking scary, dude.
You can't hear any words, but you can see in her expression that she's desperately trying to convey something to you.
I will reiterate that Rosie is stupid. And so she doesn't remember she has her bat. She doesn't think about anything. She just kind of grabs. She just kind of would immediately go to like, as apparently Jessica is. looking
Because
like a gentleman.
Jessica and Rosie are basically right next to each other, and Jessica, you had started to say what you were looking for. I'm gonna have you say what you're doing too, and you two are gonna act simultaneously.
Cool. What are you doing?
So,
Alan?
what are you doing, Jessica?
Big
Yeah,
idea.
just Jessica's looking for an implement and is just gonna.
You got a log,
Yeah.
a burning log, or a fireplace poker that you can grab.
Burning log. Let's do that.
Okay, you
Ooh,
reach into
You're
the
gonna burn your
fire.
hands. God damn.
You reach
Oh,
into the
yeah.
fire and you grab one of the logs.
Jessica's gonna burn this place
Badass.
down.
What a fucking boss, dude. Daenerys. Let's
I'm gonna
go.
say that you're able to do that. The burns that you would get at this point are relatively, it's more like it's just hot. You managed to grab one of the logs that was recently put in, enough that it's burning, but there's that end of it that's just hot. So Rosie's rushing in, you grab the burning log and you're rushing in at the same time. Is the intention that the two of you are attacking?
Yeah. I think
Yes.
so.
Okay.
With Coop on deck, of course.
So both of you go ahead and roll your fight checks.
Awesome.
Oh boy.
Fuck yeah, dude. Let's go. Manifesting. Manifesting 10s. Here we go. Nope. But it's not bad. I got a 5. I think I'm
Ooh.
gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and add 3 pops to that because 8 is my lucky number, and I'm gonna make that an 8.
Let me make sure that's fight and not flight. Yeah, that's a 9.
Atta you. Let's go.
So we've got an 8 and we've got a 9.
I mean,
For Wetsika, I will be rolling a d8 for flight.
the
It'll be fight
suspense is
versus
almost
flight.
too much here, Tamiko. You're underselling
Um,
yourself. Do it.
Where did they go? There they are. So I'm going to roll one number that will be both of you were going against.
Ah, what a fucking loser. Suck, Wetsika. I think Rosie would probably. That's her inner monologue.
So you both have narrative control of what you do up to the moment of your making contact. At that point, I will take narrative over. So
I mean,
go for it.
mine's the stupidest. So Rosie would probably just like honestly like grab like over the shoulder, under the arm, kind of just like and like start pulling backwards to get her off of Oak, I think. And
Okay.
I've made contact. Pass the baton.
Yeah, Jessica is going to. Jessica just wants to. She doesn't have the same finesse as Rosie with like bringing across a bat or anything like that. So hers is more of just like she's just pushing the log at Wetsika, just more so than like, yeah, just kind of like poking
Stabbing.
at stab, yeah. But she wants to try and just get in. I don't know.
Impossible amounts of steam.
So
Yeah, just
I-
know,
I will
creepy,
say
watery mouth.
that as
Ooh, in the
Rosie basically pulls her into a headlock, kind of rotates her, opening up her
yeah.
chest for you to
Mhm, that's
drive
what I was
that burning log. And it does immediately just go. And steam, the fire goes out, steam flares up in both of your eyes. Both of you, roll me a d6.
3.
2.
Okay. Rosie.
Chad, that was funny. Okay, yes.
As you grab Wetsika in this headlock, you feel the wetness of the rain-soaked body combined with all of the water that was spilling and continues to spill from her mouth. And it seems, even though she's
Ew.
inside, her body seems to be generating this this rain runoff, if you will. It's as if
If I
she's
could
still...
interrupt you for just 1 second, Rosie would almost assuredly say, "You," like as it's happening.
It
Anyway,
definitely feels like she's still standing in rain with rain pouring over her body. In that moment, Rosie, you suddenly feel something very intensely from your past. A very intense physical sensation or emotion. What is it?
I think it's probably like the very first time Rosie can remember, like the anniversary of her and her brother and her dad going to her mom's gravesite. And Rosie obviously was very young, but she remembers the feeling of seeing both of them together and crying and being very together in that moment, and just feeling separated from that and not really understanding why, but they are both very clearly together and feeling this grief and feeling at the same time that much closer to each other for it, and Rosie's just kind of separated from that, through no fault of theirs or anything, but just there's always that separation. And I think that she feels that, like, all of a sudden very intensely right now, kind of that separation and that secondhand grief, if you will.
And in that moment, we see the memory standing by the tombstone. Your father and your brother on one side, you physically separated by the grave of your mother as you stand on the other side of this grave towards them. And even at this young age, feeling this intense emotion of separation, the fact that just the two of them standing shoulder to shoulder, you feel isolated from them, like they have solace in one another. And what do you have? But a tombstone with your mother's name on it. And in this moment, you realize you're not alone as you look next to you. And Wetsika is standing there. And she looks
This
at
is not
you.
better. I'm sorry.
She looks at you.
Yeah.
And you see a sadness in her eyes. She doesn't even try to open her mouth to speak. She just points. And just as quickly as you were pulled in, pulled back out as Jessica.
Jesus.
The moment that you plunge this flaming log into the chest of this form of Wetsika, this form that at this close range you realize looks so much like you, wearing even the same exact clothes you were wearing the night of the big dance when you were outside, but it wasn't you at that time. It was Anne pretending to be you. And you were the form that was reflected back, trying to break free from this mirror realm. As the water douses the flame and seems to wash over the log and across your hands, you hear some intense memory. A voice, a sound, what is it?
I think that Jessica is sitting at the top of the stairs, in her parents' house back in California, or the old house that they used to have. And she's just sitting and she's listening to them yelling and screaming at each other, neither of them hearing what the other person is saying, but accusations and anger. She's just sitting with her head kind of leaning up against the wall of the stairs. She is clutching onto this teddy bear. I would put her at around maybe 12 or 13 at this memory. She has probably said that she is much too old for this bear, but she has plucked it out of its hiding spot that she has under the bed, and she is just gripping onto it. She just sits and listens to this screaming match between her parents.
In this sudden memory of this moment of intense vulnerability, clinging to this vestige of your childhood, this teddy bear, wanting perhaps desperately to not be here, but you're barely a teenager. Where are you going to go? What can you do? I think this is the first time that you heard her voice. On the landing of the stairs below you, stairs go down, there's a landing, they curve and go down to the first floor. There's a small sideboard table there. Mom always kept a bouquet of flowers there. But to help make the bouquet look more elaborate, she had placed a mirror on the wall. And as you're sitting there with your head against the wall, you look up from your teddy bear, and through the wilting flowers in this vase, you see your reflection move independently of you. And for the first time in your life, you hear, "Hi." And you're pulled out of that memory.
Oh my god. Can I add one quick thing?
Sure.
So like in the timeline of the TV episode of this, Rosie and Jessica, I imagine, like snap back to reality at like the same moment, right as Jessica stabs into Wetsica, and the steam just goes and like kind of snaps us both out of it.
More than that, Rosie, you get clipped in the gut by a now doused log as your arm goes like this. In the wake of those sudden visions, Wetsica vanishes in a
Ow!
puddle at your feet.
Shit. Jess.
Where'd she go? Laz is like looking around frantic.
Damn it.
And Rosie's just like looking at her gut. Jessica's got a fucking bicep strength. Oh. God damn, I don't know.
Coop runs
Is
over
Oak-
to the
Oak-
window to see if she's outside now.
Oak, are you okay?
He kind of like pats himself down. Yeah, I think so.
And Rosie's like frantically like looking at Oak's chest and like pulling his shirt collar down a little bit just to see like if he's okay.
Yeah.
Wet. He's wet, but otherwise
I'm-
fine.
There is
Yeah.
this moment where like Rosie's doing that, and even in the absolute shock of everything, there is that small moment of 12-year-old teenage boy being looked over by 14-year-old teenage girl and being like, oh, okay, oh, so this is happening.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Back away.
Don't look. Don't look.
Rosie is obviously not thinking that, but that's adorable.
Coop. You look out the window, you said?
I'm actually going to retcon that because I forgot the window's up high and I'm a little man. I can't see out the window.
Can you pull us a chair over there? Can there be a comical
Wait.
as we're like pulling a chair over?
Yeah.
Sure, let's
Yeah.
do that.
I would love that.
Yeah, there's plenty of chairs. You pull a chair over and you're kind of getting up so you can get a good look out the window. And you can see now about 50 feet away, in the flashes of lightning, you can see that she's standing near the rail tracks that run from the rail yard down towards the beach. And she's pointing in the direction of the bay. I said beach, I meant bay. Which is also in the same direction as the lighthouse.
She's outside, you guys. She's outside and she's pointing towards the water.
Josie immediately comes rushing over to the two girls and Oak. Are you okay? I ain't never seen her come inside before.
Yeah, I think everybody's okay, and I would. Are Jess's hands fucked up? Did she get burned? Maybe I wasn't listening. Maybe I missed
Superficial.
it.
No, she was.
Okay.
It was just hot. She was able to grab
Okay.
a part that hadn't caught fire yet. It was just hot.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're fine. I think
Jessica has dropped, like, has like put her hands like back from this everything and is just looking like wide-eyed.
Nope.
I think she wants us to go that way.
no shit.
So we're gonna
You're pretty
listen to the
insistent.
ghost water lady.
I think
We're gonna
it's
go
gonna
where
get,
she's telling us to go.
I think it's gonna get more and more fucked up if we don't. And Rosie like wants to tell Laz what she saw, but also is not really ready to share that with him. And just like looks and just like, yeah, I think we should.
I don't think she's gonna just like give up.
Coop, as it lightnings and you're looking out the window, every time it lightnings, Wetsika seems to briefly, almost as if she were moving quickly under a strobe light, you see in a flash, it looks like there's 1, then 3, then 6, then 2, then 1. All of that in with every lightning flash. It's just
Oh,
Yeah.
I hate it. You're hitting all the horror tropes that really actually scare me. It's amazing.
Coop doesn't like that.
wait till she turns over, bends over backwards, and
There it
starts
comes
just
out
crab
of the fucking
walking.
TV. No,
There's pea
stop.
soup everywhere.
Coop
Oh,
turns from
no.
the window and says, "Are you saying that we should go after her now?"
No. I don't think so. I mean, we can if you
No,
guys think it's
you
best.
cannot. I don't know
Okay.
who you are, where you come from, but you kids are not leaving this place in the rain while she is out there.
I agree
You're
with
not
the
our
lady.
mom. But also, I don't think we should leave.
Jessica walked that one back real fucking quick.
She,
To the fucking shotgun,
I think,
Mom.
as you said that, all she did, the only movement she did, was just that slight cock of the hips.
Yes.
Yeah, oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm
This
talking about.
With
It
the
was-
one shot,
Eyebrow
'cause
raise.
she has her gun over her shoulder.
Never
kinda like
mind that
kind of
she's
thing.
holding the shotgun. She just
God damn
she
it.
just did that subtle shift of
Yeah.
what?
The mom
Seriously, she
energy
has
of like,
children.
you want to
Yeah.
say that again?
You know, it's probably smartest to stay here, but you know.
Yeah, no,
we will.
Jessica was like, but like, no, we should probably just wait until like morning or something.
Wait,
Amazing.
Oak, do you feel okay? She
Yeah.
touched you, and you remember what big, beardy,
Levi?
you remember what Levi said? He said, don't, whatever you do, don't let her touch you.
Now,
Are you gonna die?
now
I
the
kinda-
realization is hitting Oak that he remembers that was said, and now I'm like, thanks, Coop. Am I gonna die? Sorry, man.
When Coop says don't let her touch you, I kind of like look over at Jessica just to kind of see if she is like if she saw anything like
I do imagine there's like a knowing look. Like you just know that Jessica also saw something. Like there's just this like
okay.
little bit of unspoken like
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Oak, you're,
But, like,
you're okay?
Rosie and Jessica touched her too. Like
Yeah.
they all
and
seem to be
it's
fine. You're fine. So I wouldn't worry about it, Oak. It's probably just a myth.
That's a myth? Laz, I don't know if... Whatever that is, that's not a myth. That's real.
It was real. But who knows? Like the devil's in the details, man. Like maybe the whole touching thing is not real. Maybe that's fake.
Turns to Josie and says, ma'am, you said she's never come inside before. You've seen her before?
You were sitting here. You heard Levi's story.
That's
Why do
Were
you
you
think
there
everybody
that
was
night?
on edge during the storm? She shows up every time there's a storm on the island.
Does it
Wait.
storm a lot here?
Wait. You said that she hasn't been inside before.
I've never seen her come inside anywhere before. She always
Okay.
stays outside.
Guys, the reason she's able to come inside now is because we're here. We're here.
Oh,
What?
hey, Oak, that's not right. I'm sure you're wrong about that. And I'm like looking at Coop, like,
What does
No.
what do you have to do with the Wetsica?
Nothing.
Why would you being here have anything to do with her
nothing. We don't know.
Why
I
did
think
she
he's just, I think
Why
he
did
means
she
that-
come in here and go right to you? She
How the
shifts
hell would
her
we know?
she shifts her stance again, and she does not raise it, but you see her grip adjust on the shotgun as she's looking over at Oak. And as you you speak up, Rosie, she says, "I wasn't talking to you."
Laz absolutely is going to impose himself between Oak and this shotgun. Not entirely. She can still talk to him, but he's putting himself in front of like the path of danger.
I
I
stand
think
beside
this
Laz.
is a misunderstanding. I think it's just a coincidence because we arrived and she arrived at the same time. It's a coincidence.
Association does not equal causation, ma'am.
What?
I don't know what the hell mumbo jumbo you're talking about.
It was in psychology, like just the other day.
But-
So lucky.
I'm 11 years old. I don't take psychology.
What
Mm,
I'm where I come from, and when you spend your days on a place like this, you tend not to believe in coincidence. You seem awful sure of yourself when you said that she could come inside because you are here. Who are
But
you?
that's just Oak, ma'am. That's how his brain works. He comes up with wild ideas.
Well, I mean, look, it's just nothing. It's just it's not a coincidence that if before and there was no kids, right? Before there was no kids in the village, right?
Jake,
Who said there's
I
no
would-
kids in the village?
Yeah.
Didn't-
no,
Am
nobody
I
said
wrong?
that. Yeah, Jake, Coop is desperately trying to diffuse
Diffuse
the
this bomb that
situation
Oak
that
is
Oak
clearly
accidentally
making.
created. And I would like to know if there's any way, short, lovable, husky Coop can use his charm to do so.
I was just about to say it's time to call for a charm check, and I believe. Nope. Is it the kids or the teens that get the?
Me, it's the kids. We get a
It's
plus
the kids.
one.
It's the little cherubs.
No, there's somebody that gets more than a +1. You get a +3 when dealing with adults.
Oh yeah,
Who
that's
the
us.
fuck
But
gets a plus
that's-
3? What
that's
the
the
shit
teens.
is
Okay,
that?
that's the
It's
teens.
rebellious.
It's rebellious.
Rebellious.
It's
Yeah,
rebellious.
It's the teens with the rebellious.
For a charm check?
They roll with
Can
a
we-
lower die, but they get a higher bonus. So
Well, that's some ass bucket.
What is
right
it?
There.
What is it
Anyways,
that you
I've got
have?
a plus 1.
You just have the innate +1 charm.
and you could make this a +45 if you really fucking wanted to. Just
Well,
throw that
no.
out.
No.
Plus-
I
we're
know.
not-
I know.
We're
I
not going
know.
to play that game.
I know.
So, would you like me to roll, Jacob?
Yes, please.
I'm going to roll my Atcon die.
Hey.
I need to grab my book.
I'm not even kidding. It's an at 20.
Nice, nice.
Oh
give me a
my
second.
god.
26.
Because you're going to be rolling against.
What a fucking stud, dude. Coop MVP. MVP.
I'm probably rolling against her D20,
Okay, here we go.
man.
His
Uh,
eyes
no.
literally like become like a cat.
It's like very anime, like.
Yep, super oversized and wet.
Are we rolling? What did you say you got?
Oh, we're all wet.
26.
So she explodes on an 8.
No!
No, she's not gonna get another one. She's not gonna get another one. She's gonna get a 14.
She explodes on
Oh
another
my God,
8.
Carrie, shut up. Shut up, Carrie. God damn it.
She's at 16.
Shut the fuck up.
What the hell? Okay,
So she gets a 20.
my little life depends on this.
Jesus Christ on
Three.
horse.
God, no.
Carrie's like, she can't get another one.
I think that's the only time Jeremy has ever and will ever say, Carrie, shut up. Like, shut up. Like, any kind of actual force. You're shut the fuck up.
I would have felt bad, Coop getting such a high roll, and all of a sudden I beat it. But I only would have felt bad for a moment.
That would have
Coop,
been the dice, though.
So, Coop, how is it that you struggle, but you are able to convince? What does your argument look like?
Coop's not. He's not just yapping. He's just explaining very vaguely little bits and things like sometimes Oak has trouble with his legs. That's not unusual. It was a little unusual they didn't work all together, but he's always had a little trouble with his legs, and he's got such a big brain that he's always thinking of things and coming up with crazy theories, and I'm sure that there's really probably no connection to her being here and us being here. Do you have kids? Have you been around a lot of kids? Kids suck. This is one of the myriad reasons why kids suck.
If I could direct you over here to my PowerPoint I've prepared. This is why.
So the whole
Welcome to my Coop talk. As I drop a Coop talk over here.
the whole time you are having this the whole time you're having this soliloquy, I guess, trying to convince her, Laz, you have a front row seat to the confusion, more than anything else, that seems to be playing across Josie's face. But you do see that over the next few moments, her grip on the shotgun lessens, and you see the tension go out of her shoulders as she relaxes a little bit. She goes, well, be that as it may, you all need to stay here, stay inside, and she walks over past you, Laz, grabs one of the chairs, pulls it over right in front of the door and sits down on it. It says, I'm going to make sure nobody gets out and nothing comes in. You all find a
Yes,
dry
ma'am.
spot on the floor, stoke up the
You have a
fire,
mop.
and get some sleep. We'll talk to
You have a
Levi
mop.
in
We
the
can
morning
clean some of this up.
behind the bar. And she sits
Pops
there
down
and
off
she
of his
places
literal soapbox.
she places the shotgun across her lap. And she just sits there, and you can see that the way her head is leaning against the door, it's cocked slightly. She's got an ear towards the door, just listening for anything unusual, while keeping an eye on all of you.
Coop goes to get the mop, and he's real confused when he sees this octopus at the end of a freaking stick, because his mop at home is a sponge at the end of a stick.
What the fuck is this?
This mop looks to be made of like old rags. It looks like it's used solely for making things less wet than cleaning things.
Ugh. Bacteria. I think Rosie would give Josie kind of the stink eye as she goes over real quick to her bag and pulls her bat out, and then just goes over to where she was sleeping before and kind of sits down and tries to get comfortable.
I think Laz goes over to Oak and just kind of like, you good?
Well, yeah, like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like a 5 right now. So, I mean, we're here.
How about your feet, your legs?
Better. I can move. I can walk, but you know that I'm right? Like I know that I'm not supposed to be talking about it, but
Hey, look, we're gonna have to figure out what we're doing here and how to get out of here. But tonight, maybe just try to get some sleep. We'll
sleep.
approach it again in the morning.
How are we supposed to sleep, Laz? How? We're gonna sit here in front of the fire and just wait for her to slowly put out fire in the middle of the night and then crawl through the fireplace and suck out my eyeballs?
Oak, just look. We don't know what's gonna happen.
You're right. Okay, you're right.
But right now, everything is quiet. So now's a good time to try to get some sleep. Yeah?
Yeah. He gives you a hug and actually I think hands you your denim vest back that he was using as a head roll for thanks, man.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just real scared because I feel like I got y'all into this, and I just feel like anything that happens to you guys is my fault now. And maybe that means that I'm gonna be rambling to some adults, but it's because I want to solve things and I want to figure things out.
And you will. You have so far. It's not going to be any different. You're going to get us out of this. I know you will. But for now, just, he kind of like reaches into the pocket of the vest that you kind of just handed him and finds his pack of cigarettes, kind of a little crumpled, but he pulls one out. Oh, thank God. And he sits down and he's going to light one. Look, just for now, let's just take it easy. Let's catch our breath, and when the shit hits the fan and gets crazy again, then we'll deal with that, just like we have every step of the way.
Okay. You're right. Okay. And I think Oak at that point would just like kind of like place himself kind of beside you, but like you could tell that for right now, for the next couple of hours, he probably will not sleep just because he is so wired.
I think there's like a moment where they're just both sitting there, and at one point, Laz like literally takes a cigarette and like offers it,
It's been a hard
like
day.
with a raised eyebrow.
Look, thanks, but no thanks, because
You hear Rosie go, Laz, if you give that kid a cigarette, I'm breaking up with you.
What? I would never do such a thing. It's not a good look for you, anyways.
no, you're right. Yeah. Oh, horrible. I would never do that ever.
Oak, roll me a grit check.
Grit check. Let's see. I forget what I don't roll it enough, so I forget what my grit die is. Okay. Ooh, okay. Ooh, that exploded. All right, good. That's a 9 then, total.
All right. Well, yeah, it takes you the better part of 2 hours. You're fighting it, especially near the end of it. The weight of the day, that feeling of fatigue you get after being out in the rain and being soaked, and the fatigue from having your adrenaline spiked from the recent experience, not to mention the fatigue you specifically are feeling from your use of powers earlier in the day. By the end of the couple hours, you are doing the old head bob, trying your hardest to stay awake until at one point your head goes slumps over, and next thing you know, you're quietly snoring away. And
I think there's a small moment just to have a little bit of brevity in the midst of all this dark chaos. I think there's this moment where maybe like Laz is next to Oak, and eventually Oak just passes out, but you hear, Leonardo, I don't want pineapple on my pizza. I just want pepperoni. Just get pepperoni, and then we'll go fight Shredder tomorrow.
And as Oak descends into a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fueled dream, that's where we're going to take our break.
Hey,
We'll see you
that's
back here
awesome.
in about 10 minutes. And we're back. You all are awakened by the sound of knocking.
Oh God, no! Don't come in.
As you open your eyes, you see that early morning light is streaming in through the windows, and you hear this heavy pounding on the door of the tavern. And then a moment later, the window that most of you had looked out and seen Wetsica, you see a dark shadow move in front of the window.
Rosie grips her bat tighter.
And then you see a man's face pressed against the window. Josie! Josie, why you got the door locked? Let me in! And sitting still in the chair with the shotgun in her lap, suddenly gripping the shotgun and sitting up and looking around, almost confused, Josie's... Hold your horses, Connor. And she kind of shakes her head and stands up and pulls the chair away from the door, reaches over and unlocks the door. And even then, she turns the knob and kind of and just peers out. And then you see her kind of relax a little. She opens the door, and a middle-aged man, kind of thin and wiry with a bushy beard, wearing overalls and wearing a yellow slicker, and even though it's not raining out, you can see he's got the yellow. Well, the guy looks like the he looks like the fisherman from the fish sticks box. I can't think of what they're called. So, Gordon's. Yeah, he looks like the Gordon's fisherman. As he steps forward, and then he kind of stops, and he goes, "Lord, Josie, put some pants on or something." Josie's still standing there in the red flannel underwear, and she kind of goes, "Don't get yourself too excited, Connors. We had a rough night here. I'll get the coffee on." And she walks around behind the bar, props the shotgun up behind the bar, disappears for a moment before coming out with some breeches on, and she's throwing on a shirt, and you can see her just kind of pulling the suspenders up as she begins doing some work behind the bar, and she prepares a coffee pot that she brings over to the fire, which she stokes, and then hangs the coffee pot in the fireplace. And kind of, it's as you all are starting to wake up, these are the sounds of somebody starting to prep for the day. And with the door opened, you can start to hear sounds out in the camp beyond, as you start to hear voices. "Oh, morning. Yeah, morning. Hell of a storm, huh? Yeah, we'll have to check the damage. Maybe the storm did some of the work for us." Just a lot of the banter going back and forth like that. And the man named Connor takes a seat at the table nearest the bar, and as he sits down, he kind of looks out the door, and he's very pointedly not looking at all of you. What would you all like to do this morning?
Start rolling up bedrolls and blankets?
Yeah.
Carrie, you're
Absolutely.
muted. See,
Thanks for being right on top of that, bud.
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, you did. I'm surprised it took this long. I think, yeah, we start kind of packing up our little slumber party. I agree.
You know when you have hairspray in your hair and then you go to bed and then it's like a literal rat's nest?
Yeah.
You see Jessica wake up and she has just her hair is piled on top of her head in this, like, does anyone... Oh, actually, she has a hairbrush. Of course she has a hairbrush in her backpack.
The only other possibility would be Rosie, and do you think she has a hairbrush?
No. But, oh, absolutely Jessica has, like a, if it can be hot pink hairbrush. I think she essentially has, like, a whole kit in her bag, because she's, yes. So within, like, I would say, like, 10 minutes, she looks, like, clean and put together, hairbrushed, bright-eyed.
Wow. You know what? I'm gonna retcon something. I think Rosie does have, like, a hairbrush, but she just goes and, like, puts on her hat, and that's her.
Well, if we're all going to die from the weird version of me, I might as well look good. You can see she's had, like, a little bit of eyeshadow too on, just for good measure.
Did we ever decide, are we in our school uniforms? Or
So the way everything worked was we did the first day of school all over again thanks to fucking Billy. We don't know that
he's
though.
not here to defend himself.
Uh-huh. And then a series of unfortunate events happened, like episode after episode after episode, which culminated in, at the end of the day, the school day, that first school day, we ended up meeting up at Maniac's after school. So
we're in our uniforms. God damn it.
But arguably, Jessica and Rosie have gym for 6 periods, so it was argued that you could have changed into your street clothes after gym.
Oh yeah, because it's after. Yeah. Okay. Thank God. If I have
My-
any excuse, Rosie's in her jeans.
I leave it to you as characters, but my argument to that was, why would you bring street clothes to school
Because Jake
If you're
wasn't
gonna-
a teenage girl.
if you're going to go
That's-
home right after school, typically?
we
But
were not
I will leave it to
planning on.
your characters.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna be in my fucking little skirt, and I say, well, the first thing I want to do is like buy or borrow or steal pants, please, because I'm getting sick of this draft. And Rosie like is uncomfortably pulling her skirt down. She's never comfortable.
Best
I
get
mean,
yourself over to Island Mercantile as opposed to stealing, the man known as Connor says. Still not looking at you.
What's it called now?
Island Mercantile and Provisions. Clara Briggs and her husband Henry own the place.
Okay.
They'll get you outfitted if you're looking for pants. It's not wise to have your legs so exposed out here on the island.
Yeah, thank you.
But with
I'll
all
try
the
to remember
nettles
that.
and critters and whatnot.
And
Is
I would
there,
just kind of shrug and be like, what is everybody else up to today?
Is there a lighthouse on the island?
Of course, there's a lighthouse. Candle Point Lighthouse. You can't miss it. Well, I suppose with the storm last night, you did miss it.
Is it easy enough to get to from here?
I don't know. It ain't none of my business what you need a lighthouse for, but easiest way, follow the rail down to the dock. You'll see the lighthouse soon enough. On the southernmost point of Crescent Bay. About this time,
I think Lass is gonna look for a cup of coffee.
I have to say about this time Josie comes around and she's pulling the coffee pot off, and she doesn't even ask, she just sets some tin mugs on the table next to where Connor is, pours him one, and then just looks over at all of you and says, "Coffee's on." Now I know I ain't your mother, as she looks at, I think it was Jessica that said you're not our mom. She says, "I know I ain't your mother, but if you're going to go out running around the island today, at least get something in your stomach." As she heads over to the fire and she's inserts a grill and kind of puts in a griddle surface, and she starts cooking up some bacon and eggs.
It's amazing. Yum.
I
I
could eat.
think I think Laz actually like asks for like sugar cubes. Do you have sugar?
We got sugar up on the just up behind the bar on that shelf over there.
Rosie's not drinking coffee. She would take some bacon and eggs.
And actually you would find cubed sugar. Anybody else? Am I gonna roleplay every moment
Yeah.
of her preparing
No.
breakfast?
No.
But it's safe to say, moments later, you could find yourself seated at. She serves everything at the table where Connor is, and she sits down with him. And she sets down enough plates for anybody that wants to. She doesn't serve you, but she brings the pans over and kind of sets these metal plates down and metal some forks, and whatnot. And
I would sit there and have breakfast.
Jake, would it be plausible that potentially there would be like tea bags in order to make tea instead of coffee? Like,
I don't think they
'cause I
had tea
feel like-
bags, Chadley.
or like
I think they had
loose
tea
leaf-
balls.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's like some sort of leaf tea that he would make instead of.
And I'm not sure
coffee,
how
'cause I feel
popular
like-
tea was here because it was so
British sympathizer.
it was so close to the traitorism.
Wow. Fucking red coat.
yeah, I don't have enough information about it, but I'm gonna say, given the locale and the nature of the logging camp,
Mhm.
that the local
No.
tavern does not have tea bags.
No worries. Okay. So yeah, I think Oak will also just participate in breakfast, but you can see that like Oak did manage to get some sleep. He does look better. He does look less frazzled. But he like looks down at his uniform and kind of just sighs. He's like, what I wouldn't give to like have just like another pair of clothes, because I've been wearing this for what, like at least 48 hours.
As
Yeah,
Rosie is eating with terrible table manners, she would say, "Well, you can come with me and we can buy new clothes at the you know,
Mercantile store.
a mercantile store."
Which is weird because I guess they have tiles.
And Mercs.
Merkins.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have any money, but I don't think our money would work here. But, and Coop kind of leans in conspiratorially and says, "Do you still have those bars of silver?
Holy shit. Yeah.
I'll
yeah.
bet those will trade here,
So Rosie
considering
starts
where we got them."
digging through her bag. And I think at the very bottom, all
You have
dented
both of
and
them.
dinged and shit. Yes. At the very bottom, all dented and dinged, and there's a piece of gum stuck to one, but she pulls triumphantly out these 2 silver bars. She kind of thunks them down on the table and be like, "I think we can get whatever we want. Spend it while you got it."
I think it'll keep us for a while, at least to get us what we need until we do what we need to do.
Right.
Maybe if we give some of this to Josie, she'll let us stay here more. Maybe not after last night, but maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That and a couple of pleases and thank yous. We should be nice to her. She was trying to help.
Hopefully, we don't have to be here for long enough to have to crash it for too long.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking
Maybe
maybe
there's like a hotel, and I would look over at what's his freaking name, Cletus, who's sitting here with us here.
Connor.
Connor. Sorry, Connor. I would look over and be like, "Is there like an actual place to stay in town? Is there like a little hotel or anything, or like a place we could pay to stay and have an actual bed and not just like a bedroll by the fireplace?"
He
Not that there's anything wrong with the bedroll by the fireplace, ma'am.
he takes kind of finishes chewing a piece of bacon and takes a long drink from his coffee mug and kind of looks over at Josie and he says, "Well, I'll have to check with guest services over at the hotel, see if they got any vacancies."
All right. You don't need to be a dick. I was just asking. You got a freaking store on this place for all 20
It's
of
Camp
you.
Mishigama is a logging camp. It's a working camp that exists to support the logging industry here on the island. It's not exactly a vacation spot.
And Rosie chuckles to herself because in her time, it is a vacation spot and she's been there on vacation. But she doesn't say anything else.
You feeling up for a walk, Oak?
Yeah, I need some air, so that'd be good.
Well,
Maybe we walk around and kind of check stuff out. Maybe head towards the lighthouse.
Mercantile first, so that
Mercantile
we can
first.
at least, so that the ladies can be comfortable, and so that
That's-
we don't stick out as much as we already do.
And I would say, well, I think that sounds fine. And Rosie would like put one of the silver bars closer to Oak and Coop and Laz. Be like, you guys go get some clothes, and Jessica and I will go when we're done with breakfast. We can go do our own thing,
Coop
and then we
pulls that
meet.
silver bar off of the table and into his pack so fast.
Shoo. We maybe meet back up here for lunch, see what we found out, and all of that.
don't go getting yourselves into any kind of trouble, Josie says. And don't stray too far. Levi is going to want to talk to you at some point about range and transport somewhere, wherever y'all come from. We can figure that out. In the meantime, you're welcome to stay here. I'm here every night. Tavern's closed up. But if you're going to be here more than a night or two, I'm going to expect you to start pitching in with some of the chores around here. But we have enough ships that are coming and going. Levi might be able to arrange something for you sooner than later. Your plan is to keep yourselves occupied for the morning until midday. I'll let Levi know, and he'll meet you here in the afternoon.
I think we'd like to get an idea of the surroundings of where we are, ma'am.
Mhm.
And we, of course, will pitch in with the chores.
I got Rosie like looks at Coop like, but then she's like, okay, yes, of course we'll pitch in with the chores.
Connor kind of drains the last of his coffee and looks around at y'all and says, well, I got some fish to catch. And stands up and he looks over at Josie and kind of smiles and says, thank you for breakfast, as always. And
They're like a. Are there sparks there?
There has got to be some
as
tension here.
as
I
he
can sense
stands
it,
up
too.
and gets kind of turns to walk away, he just turns back and he says, I'll talk to you later. And you see her kind of give a little bit of a smile, and then right before he turns to leave, Connor winks at her, and you see her for a moment. She looks to be about 10 or 15 years younger. She kind of looks like a bashful girl. She kind of smiles and turns away, and
I love it. I love them. I need a whole like novella just about them, please.
the fisherman and the barmaid.
Yes. Sounds like a song. I love it. I love it. So yeah, so Rosie would be kind of just finishing up, and she's dunking like her bacon in like the egg yolk, and she's like, so yeah, I think we all go do our own thing and then meet for lunch.
Who's doing what?
I think I would be going to the mercantile, but I don't know if I'm going like right away. I
Well,
want pants.
I will point out that it's about 6 a.m. Well, by now it's about 7 a.m.
I'm Team Mercantile.
Works for me.
Is everybody going to the mercantile?
So maybe
then?
we're just let's
We
split
need
the
a-
party and then we just
We
all
need a
come back
shopping
together.
episode.
It's like that scene in the Sandlot where they're all like, you go here, and they all like go their separate ways, but then they all like come back together.
Just so that we could check the bingo square, we split the party. Just long enough for that.
Just to get the square. I agree. Well caught, Jeremy.
All right. Just had
How
it
far
on the
away
mercantile.
from how far away from our cabin right now are we looking at, like, where the lighthouse is currently? Is that
Well-
like enough of a jaunt that, like, it would take a minute, or would we be able to, like?
If you step outside, and I imagine as you walk out, this is where we get similar to what we had at the end of season 2. We see a little bit of an aerial shot, though this isn't by any means the end of the session. We see a little bit of an aerial shot as you step out in front, and you see that the bulk of the camp is occupied by this rail yard, which also has a sawmill building next to it. Huge piles of sawdust, and you can see where logs are brought in by horse-drawn wagons from within the forest, are brought here. They're cut up a little bit in the sawmill, and then they're loaded onto these rail cars, and there's a sort of a miniature looking almost locomotive that runs them. You can see from here that the track runs maybe 3/4 of a mile down to, if that, down to the docks at Crescent Bay, where in the dock is like 60 feet wide and 150 feet long, extending out into the bay, big enough for big barges to come in to load up with wood, or for steamships to come in and reload their stores for fuel as they travel Lake Michigan and the other Great Lakes. Looking down in that direction, you can see about what feels like the same distance from the what was it called? What was the name? I've
The
completely
processing plant?
no, the name of the place where your grandparents were.
The retirement home?
Sunset Valley or something?
No, it was
No, hold on.
I've completely blanked on what it was called.
Hold on, I've got
Retirement
you.
community.
Locations: Twilight Grove,
Starlight-
Senior
Starlight.
Living Center.
Twilight
Twilight
Grove. Yeah. It looks like it's about that same distance, which was like less than a mile.
But it's all downhill,
To
which means the way back is uphill.
it's not really downhill though.
Okay.
It's maybe slightly downhill, but not like you're up a big hill. It's enough to
good.
justify why the locomotive serves the purpose, probably to keep the rail cars from runaway acceleration and to push them back up the incline. But all around the rail yard, you see where the tavern is. You can see that there is a several canvas tents strung up together next to a wooden structure that seems to form the loggers' bunkhouses. You can see not far down the way from you, I guess it'd be off to the left, is where Island Mercantile and Provisions is located. Further back down the trail, you can see that heading northward, there is the trail splits left and right, though they're relatively close together. To the left is a schoolhouse, and to the right is a church building. You can also see sort of near the church, of course, is a cemetery, a graveyard. There's another building nearby that has Dr. William Harker written on the sign, Doc's Place. The lumber camp I told you about, just making sure I get all the buildings you can see. And then there's a few other random buildings here and there, maybe some residences, trails that lead into the woods in various places. The island does not feel very big. Looking in any direction, you kind of get that sense that just over the hill or just over a rise, and I will say to the west, so kind of as you're looking out from where you're at now, it'd be sort of to your left, the island does seem to gently rise higher and higher, and you can see further along, maybe a mile and a half or so, some incredibly tall trees that are off in that distance. But you don't get the sense that this island is very big. I had to close Discord, but in the docs and info section, I believe I gave you some dimensions of how big the island is. It's longer north to south than it is east to west, and I think its longest dimension is only around 2 to 3 miles, if that.
Hey Jake, before we go, Coop is going to ask, Miss Josie, I just have a question for you. Is there a place in the camp where the kids who are here like to go?
Well,
That's his way of saying, where do the kids hang out?
there's not really any little kids like your age here.
Less my age, more their age.
Most of them work. And on Saturdays, they go to school. On Sundays, they go to church.
They go to school
Fun.
on Saturday?
Well, they're working during the week. What else are they going to do on Saturday?
Rosie is making all these like chuckly little sounds as they're having this conversation, but not saying anything.
All right. Well, thank you. And then Coop goes. He struck out. He was hoping that maybe we'd be able to find some kids who weren't in the middle of working, who might be able to like show
keep
us
our eye out
around
for
the
any-
place. But
Just keep an eye out for any lumberjacks that look really young. I'll just holler at him.
So far, Simon is the youngest one you've seen. He looked like he was about 19.
Hmm.
The one with the lumberjack with glasses that was writing in the journal last night. So you guys head to the Mercantile.
Okay.
As you kind of walk along, you notice that there's less sidewalks and there's not like full-on boardwalks like you'd expect like in a western town, but rough sawn logs or planks of wood have been placed into the ground to just to provide a little more traction and also seems to be to kind of define the safe walking areas. Sorry, trying to find. I have everything in one
Carrie,
document.
do the thing. Carrie, do the thing.
Sorry. While Jake is checking out check us out.
Talking about?
Teespring.com. At Teespring.com, we got all kinds of great new shirts, like the one Jake is wearing, the ones Miko's wearing, the one Jeremy is wearing. I don't know if that one's for sale anymore, but so many others. You can check us out. We have it on t-shirts, tank tops, coffee mugs, stickers, hoodies, and all kinds of other great stuff. Teespring.com. Just click the link in the description for this video.
Jeremy's
Sorry.
is gone.
Oh, Jeremy's is gone. Listen, so get yours now while they last.
As you get to where the Mercantile building is, you get to the front door, open it up, you hear the little telltale jingle, and you see an interior of the shop. You see that it looks like the exterior is like most of the buildings here, made of wood planking, very weathered. Nothing's really painted to look nice. But there's the signpost that says Island Mercantile and Provisions. But it seems to be pretty pretty well stocked with a variety of things that people living in a logging camp would need to survive. You see the hardwood floor with a single table in the middle that has a few items on it, shelves that are lined with various items, grain sacks sitting in front, some of which have things like rice and flour and sugar. You see a few barrels that have things, salt. You see lanterns, axes, pickaxes, shovels, saws, hanging along the side, some hanging from the rafters. You see some odd bits and ends, or bits and ends. That does not sound right.
Bits and bobs or odds and ends. Take your pick.
I couldn't figure out what two phrases I was putting together.
You know what?
Bits and ends.
Bits and ends. Call it that. Let's start something new.
Some bits and ends of what looks like people maybe have traded things. You see a variety of straight razors and compasses, pocket knives. There's a harmonica. There's a dented bugle. You see at least two leather journals, a variety of writing instruments, pots of ink and pens and nibs. Just as I said, a whole eclectic collection of things. There is off on one side, there's several sets of overalls, pants, shirts, a lot of like loose woven cotton shirts and things very similar to what Josie was wearing. Boots, some of which, not everything you see looks brand new, but there's nothing there that looks like it's like just dingy old stuff. Behind the counter, where there is a woman standing there. Second. A woman who looks to be in her late 40s. She has a warm, matronly look about her, as she looks like she was about to grab a broom when you all walked in, and then she stopped and she kind of turns towards you and says, "Oh, hey, good morning." "Well, good morning." She seems surprised and trying to almost mask her surprise. "You must be the children Levi said turned up mysteriously yesterday. Welcome into the Island Mercantile and Provisions. My name is Claire Briggs, and, well, what can I help you all with?"
Hello, ma'am.
We need some clothes, pants.
I should say so. You are very brave girls indeed, walking around with your legs exposed like that. I'm surprised you're not all cut up from the briars and the thistles and whatnot.
Yeah, hence pants, please.
Yes, ma'am. We need to get outfitted with clothing and maybe some supplies or bags.
She kind of looks over at you and then kind of looks over.
You know, we're carrying around Jansports, y'all.
She looks over
Right.
at you, Coop, and then she looks over at Oak. And she says, "Well, outfitting the others is going to be a little bit easier.
I know we're little men, ma'am, but
Well,
we don't mind. We don't mind cuffing our hems.
So
yeah,
sweet.
you'll have to roll up a little bit, but I did, in the last shipment that we had come in, I made sure to stock some smaller stuff ever since Mouse O'Connor started working with us here."
I'm sorry. Back it up. Mouse O'Connor.
Oh, well.
Mouse O'Connor.
Well, her name is Molly, but everybody calls her Mouse around here on account of how small she is.
Oh my god.
But
where is she? How do we
Do
talk
not
to her right
let
now?
her small size fool you. She may be small, but she makes up for it with grit and determination.
It's like the girl Joey dated who kept punching him. Sorry.
The part of Mouse O'Connor is now played by Soleil Moonfry. I would like
Yes.
all of you to roll me a brains check. I'm looking for a high number here.
Oh
For
my
highest
God.
number of all of you. This isn't a test.
Oh, I got a 7.
Didn't even need to look up the die. I already know. Ooh. I exploded for a 5.
Woo.
What?
Whoa. Ooh, Oak. Beat me by 1.
So, what'd you end up with, Jessica?
Sorry, I kept exploding. I got a 23.
Okay. I need you to roll me. Let's start with 1, but I might have you roll a couple more times. Roll me a D100.
Okay.
This is Jessica's
96.
light bulb moment.
96. Go ahead and roll me one more.
D100?
Yep.
Okay. 74.
Let's see what we got here.
Apparently Jessica just whatever this is, she knows it so well.
And one more.
It's a part of her.
We'll go ahead and do a third one.
Okay. 26.
$26. Okay. So as Claire is talking, and she kind of comes around to the front, and she comes over to where the clothing is. Immediately she's holding up different pairs of pants, holding them up kind of in front of each of you, and she's moving around very quickly, not even asking you what you're interested in, just grabbing things that look like they're gonna fit.
Coop's crossing his fingers and hoping for a pair of overalls because he wants to be that guy.
As she's doing that, Jessica, as Clara leaves where she was standing behind the counter, something catches your eye. There's some items on the shelf. First of all, there's some pipes and some tobacco, and things like that. But there's at least a half a dozen jars that have brightly colored candies in them. Things she keeps up out of the way for, not kind of like you'd expect to keep out of the way of children, but you suspect it's to keep out of easy access of the folks of the logging camp, so that they don't just go help themselves whenever they want. But sandwiched in between these, on a shelf between these jars of candy and the pipes and the tobacco and the rolling papers, is a shelf that has an odd collection of items. Things that they don't match anything else you've seen here, and they seem incredibly out of place. 2 items, or rather 3 items, that stand out to you. This one is sort of pinned up behind the items on the shelf. There's a photograph. Kind of blurry. It's black and white. There's a photograph of a woman standing in front of the Candle Point Lighthouse. In particular, what stands out about this image, this photo, is it is a Polaroid photo. next to it, also pinned up into the hardboard, almost in the way a proud parent might display it, is very easily recognizable to you. It is a midterm report card from Paradise Academy showing a student who appeared to have gotten mostly B's and C's, but did get one A in gym class. But before you can spend too much time thinking about what these items might mean, what their presence means, it's that 96 that you rolled. On the shelf, just to the right of where the Polaroid and the picture are, sandwiched in between a couple other mysterious items, a Furby with its eyes closed.
What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Now I've paused. We don't know what Furbies are. That's a late 90s advent. Is it supposed to be?
I have not made a mistake.
Okay. Oh,
So,
Jesus Christ. Oh, God.
But it does look very out of place in that
So,
it's made out of plastic
and I do apologize. I was describing the Furby to you, the players, and not to Jessica, I guess. So what you see is what looks like a weird brown and white fur creature of some kind, vaguely owl-like, with these sort of plastic, what would be clearly eyes, but they're closed, and what looks like a little beak, also made of plastic. It looks like some kind of childhood toy, more closer to from your time than something you would see from this time.
and these are just like on the shelf of the store. Like,
Yeah, you
kind
can-
of up.
You can absolutely go over and take a look at a couple more things if you want. I won't make you
Yeah.
roll. I'll go ahead and roll a couple. Or if any of you would like to roll, we'll see what else Jessica sees.
Yeah,
I
Jessica's
would like to
looking.
roll.
Shout
Is
your
it brains?
numbers. Just call out your numbers.
Is this still brains?
No, this is not brains. This is a D100 roll.
D100 percentiles, right?
Yep.
Let me see what's on the fucking shelf.
69.
Nice.
Nice.
You see
I had to find the dot. See what it was.
this one is just odd in itself. It is a bald porcelain doll's head smiling.
Ew.
Jeremy got a 58. I'm gonna come back to that one.
got a
Whoa, Oak
52.
rolled a 100.
Ooh. The world explodes.
And what did you get, Carrie?
52.
All right, so I've got a couple of doozies here that I want to figure out the order to do these in.
Oak finds a new iteration on the shelf.
Welcome to season 4. You've just found season 4.
Oak finds a big old fuck you for
A
Jake because
shortcut.
this overlay was good for two episodes.
No, so the next thing you see, Jessica, is a gold tooth. But it's a gold tooth that looks like it's about the size of a child's hand. It is a massive gold tooth. The next two items, I'm going to go with Oak's 100. Actually, I'm going to be honest. You probably don't fully know, any of you know what this is. You see a piece of plastic that's about an inch wide, 1/4 inch thick, and looks to be about maybe 3 inches long. The one end of it has a slightly smaller, about a 1/2 inch long piece of metal. It looks like thin metal and almost looks like it would plug into something. We, the audience, will immediately recognize this as a USB drive. And the last thing, I need a moment because I have gotten something. Okay, there we go. The last thing, and this is Jeremy's 52. You see, it's not until
My
you
52.
it's not, or sorry, I'm at 58 for Jeremy.
Oh,
The last thing you see, and it's as you're sort of looking around, you see it's kind of tucked behind some of this other stuff. You see what is a clearly a vinyl record. It is not in a sleeve. It is propped up, and about a third of the record is melted. So it's not a sphere. It's just sort of melted and kind of caved in on itself. And you can see in the middle is a shockingly violet label with sharp yellow text written on it. And you can see very clearly the recognizable logo of Lazarus.
oh my God.
And I think that's where we're going to end
That's-
tonight's session.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Wow.
I have 100
coming in
items here,
hot.
and you guys rolled a couple of the really good ones.
That's great.
Yeah.
The
That's
weirdness
great.
begins.
So for the
Yes.
purposes of notes, Tomiko, you can grab whatever. I'll tell you this. I would say think very early USB drives, but you as characters, you have no idea what this is. There's no USB drives in 1985. Nor are there Furbies. So you don't know what that is either. But yes, there's some very odd things on display. Island Mercantile and Provisions. We'll pick up here with you guys figuring out how you're going to pay for all your new clothes and what you want to do about these mysterious things next week.
Amazing.
I gotta say, this was one of those sessions where it's pretty fun that the whole top third of my notes here was a series of challenges based on if you followed Wetsuka out into the night. That just never happened. But you did do the second thing, which is you got aggressive with Wetsuka, and so we got to play that out.
That was not a surprise to anybody, I feel like.
I'm very
We're a
excited.
very aggro group.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
I'm very excited about these early sessions because I just have to have the world built around you so that you guys can do what you're going to do, because I don't know what you're going to do. I can only plan for what I think you might do and just be ready when things happen. That's why I feel like I'm jumping around a lot, because I just have a bunch of things written down so that if you do say, hey, can we go to this place? Well, okay, let me see who's there. I'm having a blast with this. I definitely
This is cool.
want you all to be hoisted by your own petard rather than me petarding you. That doesn't sound right.
No. You're doing the hoisting.
Yeah. So-
Wasted by your own petard, I think is what it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I said. I want you to be I want you
But
to
how
hoist.
would you verbalize, like verbize
I don't think you would.
petard? I don't think you would. I don't think you should.
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, that's a dangerous game. With that, I want to say thank you to everybody, as always, all of the support with bits and subs and all of that stuff. We appreciate it. As always, looks like I totally forgot we have a sub goal sitting at the bottom of the screen here. We came really close this month, 41 out of 50 subs for the month. So that's awesome. This is the last day we're streaming this month, so we'll shoot for shoot for that next month. But every time you sub and do all that kind of stuff, you grow their collection of domain pops. I almost called them domain pops. I made the
many
decision
variations.
a long time ago to
That's
call
Monday.
them different things, which confuses me every game. Instead of just calling them domain pops across the board or domain dice across the board. So they're tomes, they're pops, they're devils, they're dooms, they're mythos. It depends on the game that's being played. All of it goes to support the players in the games, so that you can impact the game. So we appreciate that support. Appreciate everybody hanging out in chat. Love seeing the conversations and the discussions and all of that. And if you are somebody that likes to lurk quietly in the background, or you're watching later with us on the VOD, know that we appreciate you and hope you are enjoying the show as well. And as always, it is so much fun to sit around this virtual table with all of you, to get to build this world and go on these strange adventures in this system with all of you. I look forward to it every week. I'm glad we're back at it in 2025 with a whole new season. Thank you to all of you wonderful people, Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Jeremy, and even though he wasn't with us tonight, he was definitely with us in spirit, Ted, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want.
Da-da-da, da-da-da-da.